Welcome back to IXION. I have a couple of things that we want to be doing in today's episode. We want to complete the science events, and I also want to do more of the rearranging of the sectors. I have a sector layout video in the making, and I will also be giving out the layouts for the sector layouts that I have made in the comment section and description of that video, as well as in my Discord server. So I do have a Discord server for those of you who are not aware of that. You'll find the link to that in both the video description, but also in the upper banner on the channel. And you're more than welcome to join there if you are interested in socializing, of course. But now, let's just get right on to the science events. After one little thing, I have had a couple of questions that is being repeated in the comment section. One of them is regarding to the sciences. And yes, I am following specific paths, but it is a little bit more difficult when I'm recording, as I've mentioned. The other one is regarding algae farms, and why I'm not using algae farms. Let me just quickly explain why I'm not using algae farms. The reason I'm not using algae farms is because 4 farms with the maximum upgrades on the fusion station combined with the maximum upgrade on the crop farm, which I will eventually get, combined with the maximum upgrade on the mess hall is more than sufficient to feed the entire Tiqqun on its own. At least if you're running your sectors on restricted food policy, which I see no reason why I should not run them on a restricted food policy. This sector has +1 happiness, +2 happiness, +2 happiness, +2 happiness, +2 happiness. And I'm going to get more happiness very soon. Maybe by the end of this episode, actually. I have specific things in mind here. The other question that I also received is why I don't use the water treatment center. If you look at the water treatment center, it says it uses 50 waste per cycle to fulfill all water needs in a sector. 50 waste, that is a lot. So in 10 cycles, that means that I would need 500 waste generated if, that is, the tooltip for the tech here is correct, which I assume it is, although it wouldn't be the first time something is not entirely correct here. How much waste do I generate? Well, I am struggling to maintain 4 of these operational, and they use 50 waste every 10 cycles. So I have no idea how I would be able to run that thing. The other thing about it is, why do I want to run that? There's still 1060 ice left to mine in this system. No, 1157 left to mine. There's 1060 left to collect. I have 836 on the ship. And in addition to that, there's a lot more ice down here. And also up here. There is so much ice. I think this chapter alone has like 14,000 ice, and I don't mind bringing it into the ship and using it. So I would much rather use waste for alloys and electronics than for water. So the final reason is farms produce waste, and I want waste. I don't know how much waste they do produce, but they produce waste. I don't know whether the algae farms do produce waste. They probably do. But even if they do, they produce less waste than the farms, because the farms have the knee-high crops protocol that makes them produce 30% more waste, in addition to the sector specialization thing that makes them also produce 30% more waste. But that obviously would also apply to the algae farms. I might switch to the algae farms at some point, but for now I don't see the need. So yeah, that was my little 5 minutes of explaining things. Let's get to Croc P51. Our probe has registered some interesting environmental data on P51. Primary analysis revealed conditions similar to those found on a terrestrial seabed. These conditions may prove conducive to the existence of life. Transmission from the Maxwell's team. This is the crew of the Maxwell. P51's atmosphere has an extremely high gas concentration. We are navigating through an almost semi-liquid environment. The tremendous pressure is putting the resistance of our suits to the test. Having reached the core, we are preparing to sortie out towards what appears to be a collection of geysers, the area that provided the environmental data. I think that the advanced analysis is what we want to do here. And indeed I would be correct on that. We are going to do the advanced analysis. Let's just send one of these out. Now that's going to take a little time because the cargo ship will have to go out there and so forth. This sector is more or less done. We have one water left, so we can just do harvest, and let's just wait for the that one is done. We can dismantle. This one is done. We can dismantle, and this one we can also dismantle. That frees up a lot of workers. We can also dismantle this. And now the food will have to trickle in slowly to these stockpiles, and then this sector will be completely reorganized into a recycling sector. The missile threat analysis has been researched, so we have all of these. Which means that at this time, I'm going to pause the recording and continue to work on the stuff that I'm working on in regards to sector rearranging. Specifically this sector here, where I have a few more things to do, and I don't think you guys want to look at that. Let's send out another probe though. I will be sending out probes while the game is paused, or the recording is paused, by the way. I'm also going to completely redo the this sector, because the recycling centers will be moved to the new recycling sector, which will be this sector here. But that's for later on. So, be right back. Okay, so the science ship has completed its task. I'm slowly working on this sector here, having added an EVA airlock, tearing down a quarter up there, and also added a stockpile here. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to put in it, but something. Removed one of the recycling centers here, and this sector I will literally tear it down. I don't know if I have enough housing as is. I do, so we can tear down the cell housing, and we can tear down the memorial, because we don't need that either. Let's have a look at the science event. We have discovered unusual bacteriological formations in the geysers of P51. The bacteria are not only capable of arranging amino acids, but by utilizing geyser emissions as binding agents, they restructure mineral deposits and carve out basins around the geysers. Yes. Further groups of bacteria were found within these basins. We have named the bacteria Myers and would like to carry out further behavioral analysis. We get 44 science, and we will conduct further tests on the bacteria. That'll take 3 cycles. We might as well just leave the game or the recording running while we do that. 2 seconds. I don't know if I managed to actually get that out of the recording. I sincerely apologize if I did not. So my plan is to get a health center in here instead of having it in the residential sector. I'm not entirely sure how I want that to be, but I think that I can do the health center like that, and then I can have a demotic quarter like that, and we can have a road going up there. And I am sending out probes aplenty. We don't have anyone available currently because I had forgotten to send Polymer over to this sector. So let's see, let's send out another one there. And these numbers are slowly getting higher and higher, and yeah, we're not going to lack any resources, so which brings me back to the thing about the water treatment plant. It just doesn't seem necessary because there's so much ice, and I do know that there are plenty of ice around in the next chapters as well. Are we still bringing in... No, we're not bringing in cryopods. That might be a good idea. Well, this one is full. Not that it matters all that much, but this sector as well is going to have some serious rearranging. As a matter of fact, I intend to open up the 6th and final sector and make that the population sector. This one will... I don't know what I'll use this sector for, to be honest. You can see the farms are running. All of them are running at maximum. This one is full on water. And I haven't even upgraded properly yet. So, yeah.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Now, I do want the nuclear power plant. We don't need it as of yet, but I do want it. What we do want, though, is to get the upgrades on the mess hall. So let's start with the advanced logistics, because this is what we want to aim for. We can send out more probes. If anyone's wondering about the dark green, when they're dark green, it usually means that, you can see now, it's dark green. Then I move it, and it turns light green. I think that means that you're almost missing a node. When it's like that. Doesn't necessarily have to jump up in terms of how high the bars are. But I think that it means that you are not completely catching all the nodes. This sector probably has a lot of battery power in excess now. 24.8. Yeah, that's a lot. I also kicked out a lot of workers from this sector.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Excellent. The majority of Meyer bacteria live inside a geyser's tube. Smaller groups do exist externally that appear to have been excluded. Samples from within the geyser reveal an organized society that is not only able to propagate other types of bacteria, but also use what can only be described as tools, exchanged via vesicular transfer. We theorized a bacteriological language and, with the help of the PA, sent a message to the colony through appropriate stimuli. They responded. The colony has proposed to follow us on an expedition to the Tiqqun. This will be a monumental undertaking, as a single human cycle corresponds to several hundred of theirs. We have determined that the best way of transporting the bacteria will be to settle a small colony within the respiratory tract of one of the crew. Perhaps an extreme method, but it will provide the ideal conditions for the bacteria. An intelligent and aware species. This will surely open the way for new perspectives. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We will not authorize transportation of the myobacteria, so get out of there. And let's collect the science, and I'm just going to continue down the mess hall path with the science, and I will pause the recording and we'll move on to Crook P42, which is the colonization planet, so we can start colonizing the planet, and then we'll go down to P43 and P37 as the final two science planets in this sector or chapter. So be right back. And the science ship has arrived at P42, and as you can see in here, sorry about that, I should probably turn off the sound on my phone. As you can see here, I'm building 4 mushroom walls in this sector here. I will leave them powered off though. I also had to pick up the intelligent design technology for the crop farms, so I can continue on stellar cuisine on the mess hall. So what we need to do now is to have a look at Crook P42. P42 is eligible for colonization testing. Data collection will help shape future DOLOS initiatives. I might have read this before, but I don't think so. Transmission for the Maxwell's team. We have landed on P42. The planet is bathed in a toxic yellow haze which severely reduces visibility. First measurements have recorded trace amounts of oxygen in the planet's atmosphere. We have also noted the presence of a few species of bacteria on the shores of Mada, one of P42's cyanide oceans. Well, that sounds just lovely. We will establish advanced Nyakond colony infrastructure here, which means we will have to send 90 alloys, 90 food, and 90 colonists. I think I want to go into the Tiqqun again and assign the cornucopia for this task specifically. Okay, establish and cornucopia, because we have all that we need in that sector. So, yep, yes. That's going to take a while. That's going to take a fair amount of time for that cargo ship to go back and forth. Don't remember how much of the
A probe has completed its scan.
cargo ship technologies I've done. Oh, I've done all of them, except for this one. So at least it will take a little bit shorter time than it usually will take. But it'll still take time. So I'll continue my work on this sector, which is now batteryless, by the way. And again, I will return shortly. Well, as you can see, the industrial sector is, well, it's getting definitely changed. Our colonization efforts are still running. I wanted to, I got a request here, and I also wanted to let you guys see what the new recycling sector is going to look like while I'm getting that request. I'm pretty sure it's a request that we need to keep the mushroom walls shut down for 30 cycles. But, I mean, they are shut down, and I have no intention of turning them on. But let's see. Administrator. Despite its thorough chemical processing and convincing synthetic flavoring, food produced from waste is proving to be unpopular with the crew. Often, the crew good-naturedly make jokes about the parallels between the food and their garbage, but sometimes the seeds of discord grow in the soil of humor. Let's promise to turn the mushrooms' walls off for at least 30 cycles, because I have no intention, as I said, to turn them on. New objective, and you will become waste again. The thing is, this sector should now be very soon specialized in recycling tier 2. Need one more recycling center before it ends up with that. So there is, I just need to check that electronics in sector 2 is shut off, because I need to move that little thing so we get that up there. These are just temporary little things while I do other things. And I also think we want to start getting the waste into this sector. So this is sector 6. Let's go to sector 6, waste, max, sector 2, waste, min. And now all the waste should be, well, now they're sending it there, but it should be redirected over there. And as soon as the waste has, like these are done with their current cycle of alloys, because I have no alloy production currently. The only alloy production I have is from the waste treatment centers. So we definitely want to have that, because I need to have a continued alloy production. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, I want to just say something about that real quickly. There is ample ice available. I have found all the resource nodes in the system, As you can see, there's a lot of them. And yeah, 5,350 unmined and 4,000 left per collection. We are not going to be lacking any kind of resources anytime soon, and I can safely hang out in this system while I unfreeze the cryopods, of which there are a few left, and also do rearranging on the Tiqqun layouts. But on that note, I will again be back shortly. There we go. As you can see, the industrial sector is starting to take shape here. And our colonization has been successful. The temporary test colony has now been established. The colonists will periodically transmit reports on their progress. These will provide us with valuable field data. Now this will provide science over 50 turns. So let's send the science ship down to P43, and I will be back as soon as it has arrived there. And more or less done with the layout of the industrial sector. The only thing that remains is this part here, which will be another large stockpile, and that one will be for polymer. And that's the final thing I need to add in here. The other sector that we're working on is the recycling sector. I need to remove this docking bay, but since we're still mining, I kinda need the docking bay present for the time being. So let's have a look at what's going to happen at P43. Our probe has discovered an unusual electromagnetic signal transmitting from beneath the surface of P43. This signal shares many similarities with the one our team identified on the Rokitansky comet in the Immortan system. Transmission from the Maxwell's team. This is the Maxwell crew. We have landed on P43. The electromagnetic signal seems to be transmitting from below the planet's surface. We only have a limited amount of time to investigate before our suits and the Maxwell's hull are compromised by P43's corrosive atmosphere. Tanjana recommends the use of demolition charges to accelerate the excavation process. So we can either use explosives to clear a path quickly, or we can drill through the crust of P43. Now, let's see here. I think the best option here... We are going to lose one crew member, but I think I can accept that on this specific mission. So we're going to use explosives to quickly clear a path, and that's going to take 2 cycles, so I don't see the point in pausing for that. Let's see, how are things progressing here? They are progressing quite well. We are building more batteries, or we are building up batteries again in this sector, and that is very needed for... Sector 6 is now specialized in industry, rank 1. Very nice. That's the recycling sector, which means that all the recycling centers are now affected by 30%... no, the batteries are affected by 20% longer lasting. I've built 3 of them. I can probably build another one because we're going to have a cluster of tier 2 batteries here. Sector 6 can currently... yeah, that's 10.8 without that battery, so I was in my spreadsheet thingy-majingy for the layout. I have this area here as either a memorial or a tier 3 battery, but I don't think the tier 3 battery is really needed. So the memorial it is. We are at 2 happiness. Here we are at 2 happiness. Here we are at 2 happiness. Yeah, we're doing okay, I would say. Another thing I want to do in this episode is also to open the final wall. You know, we are already about halfway into the episode, a little bit above halfway, so I think I'll just go ahead and do that. Let me just check my worker status. We have a lot of workers in this sector, even with industry on. That sector might need a couple more. Yeah, we're fine. We can open the final sector, so let's override the locks. I do believe I have
A
just
science
100
ship team has completed a task.
Let me just quickly see that I'm not taking away too many workers. No, I'm not. Yep, override locks. And go back to P43. The explosion, which was larger than expected, revealed a huge system of subterranean tunnels. Despite the rubble and the instability of the area, the Maxwell's team identified a passageway leading to the anomaly. The journey downward was without incident. The anomaly is in a large cave full of strange geological forms. Concentric circles are present on the walls, reaching from the floor to ceiling and formed of many layers of different sediments. Crystal formations have grown everywhere. What is most astonishing, however, is the anomaly itself. Huge grey sphere about 4 meters in diameter, floating in the center of the cave. Get another one of these. Okay, so we are going to do 2 of these options. Let's examine the sphere first and foremost. That's 3 cycles. And again, I don't think it's necessary to pause for that. Who is building? I don't know who is building is one of these 2.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Okay. Administrator, all sectors of the Tiqqun have been unlocked. The crew feels motivated knowing that the station is now fully operational. That's 10% trust modifier. And it only took us 1,366 cycles. Now we do have to enable the 3rd EVA airlock for that. That should put us... I don't know if it'll put us at 700. It probably will. But it's not like alloys is going to be a big problem for us, so as soon as this sector properly operates, everything will be fine in that regards, so I'm not too worried about that. As you can see, I'm planning on being able to store a mere 4,200 alloys in this sector, so yeah. In addition to that, we have this sector with 720, and this sector here with 4,000... Yeah, 1,200, so a total of 4,200 on the station currently. Needless to say, I don't think alloys will be an issue. Sector 3 lacks housing and health, so we can get started here. Yeah. Where is the best? I think up here. Let's build a road like that. We need a workshop. We need an alloy stockpile.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Of course it has. That was new. Haven't experienced that before. Just start to collect things here. Clean out the sector floor. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to use this sector for, but I think that I want to use it for as a population sector. I intend to move the people living here to here, because I have another insane layout that I'm changing things into. I'm sure nobody's surprised.
Team has completed a task.
Excellent. Let's go have a look at that. The sphere repels anyone or anything that gets too close to it, as if it were a magnet repelling another. According to our readings, the sphere is composed of multiple layers. A thin gaseous layer covers the surface, a seemingly sedimentary layer beneath. Within that, the core generates a strong electromagnetic field that periodically degasses the surface. We have also detected the presence of particles characteristic of self-similar space. Behavioral reports indicate that Noam is developing a strange fascination with the sphere, so he's the person that we're going to lose then. 55 science. The other choice we're going to do is study the circles. This sector is going to be quite something to build up. And it's going to take a while as well. Okay, I'm done with the industrial sector, so I don't really need to think too much about that. These guys are starving and they're homeless and they lack food and all kinds of things. But they're not the happiest campers around currently, but that's fine. We do need storage for food. Sure, let's just place it there, and also a mess hall, just to make sure they have that. Going to tear those down again pretty quickly. Yeah, there and there. Okay. Okay, now I also need to rearrange this road here. I need that to go like that. As a matter of fact, one more. Pick that up. And yeah, I can now tear down these two as well. Sampo Troy Mimisbrunner. You can go collect iron. And I think I want that one to face downwards because it's going to be exported as well. And it will accept polymer. That's the final building for this sector. So that means we are all good. Number 5, Akshaya and Pelican. We do have enough polymer currently, so you guys can go and pick up silicon. The road is done.
Team has completed a task.
And the science team is done. That's good. That means we want to put down a medium. I need to pause because I need to make sure that I'm doing this in the right order of things. That doesn't seem right. It isn't right. I thought it wasn't right. Go away. And we are going to have a workshop down here. It's going to be facing that way. And that's going to be our road connection to the outside. With that, we can place down a medium storage here. And I don't need to pause now, really, because that's going to be for alloys. Yep, that looks good. Let's go and have a look at what the science team has to report. The concentric circles do not have a classical geological origin. A phenomenon unknown and external to the geological activity observed on P43 generated these strange formations. The circles are not perfect, but the distance between each layer is proportional to their diameters. Atomic analysis revealed the presence of particles characteristic of self-similar space. Sensors indicate that the team's suits and the Maxwell's hull will soon be compromised by the planet's atmosphere. Repatriation should be initiated with urgency. The game is actually warning you, if you do one more choice, you're going to die. Ready for extraction, 44 science. If I now do this one, that's the end of the science ship. Leave the planet. As we were preparing to leave the cave, Noam leaped onto the sphere. Unlike our previous attempts, they were not repelled. They were sucked in. Everything has been recorded in the report. We leave this barren and cursed rock. One crew member lost, not killed, lost Noam Drucker. So I'm going to leave the ship here, collecting science, and then I have to send it back to the Tiqqun for getting a replacement crew member for Noam. And then I will send it to P37, and I will be back then. I'm just going to build up some basic amenities here, and I will show you guys what the plan is for this sector as I have, or before we end this episode. So be right back. Now, as you can see, this sector is definitely starting to take shape. I've paused most of the construction that I don't need currently. But yeah, there is going to be, this is going to be an interesting sector. One thing that I do want to do before I forget is that I want to research the exo-fighting dome. So we're going to do that. I have built a train station here, and I've noticed that the game seems to want you to build an infirmary before you actually drop that silly icon thing. So I might as well do that.
An accident has occurred in the Tiqqun.
Yeah, sure. And then tear it down again afterwards. So 1, 2, 3, just build an infirmary there, get it up, and then tear it down again afterwards. Are we importing electronics to this sector? No, we are not. Let's set this to 30. How about... Yeah. We are mostly good. I'm going to need a lot more food than that, but I don't want to import it just yet. The DLS center is almost done. Let's have a peek at the event at P37. Readings from P37 are unusual. The planet has a high level of radioactivity, and its diameter and position in the Crux system seems to contradict theoretical models. Topographical analysis of its surface revealed the presence of a huge crater. Transmission from the Maxwell's team. We have landed on P37. Sorry. We have landed on P37 in the crater we have named Desolation. The ground here seems to be made of a glass-like substance, possibly obsidian, and the crater's rim is razor sharp. Telluric formations within the crater resemble waves frozen in time. We think we can pull some interesting data from sediment analysis, or we could try to discover what impacted here. Now, first of all, we are going to do the analyze impact area before we do the establish infrastructure as the second choice here. So the Maxwell's team will analyze Desolation Crater to learn more about its formation. Okay, let me explain this sector here and how... I need a sip of water. There we go. So how this sector here is going to be laid out. I'm going to have 2 rows of domotic quarters going down from there and there. Then a road will be going down there. Then another row of domotic quarters with a fire station on top will be going down here. And then another row, and then another row. And then we'll have 2 domotic quarters this way over here. We don't need to build them yet. I need to build up all the infrastructure in the sector first, and we also need to set intense propaganda immediately, because I'm worried about, well, they're at +3, actually, so I don't think it was that necessary, but yeah. We also need to set the waste recycling policy here. But the road here is not going to be here. They're going to have to drive in, up, then around, then down, and in here to get out there. This is the only road connection on this side, and this is the only road connection on this side. And it's going to be kind of a squiggly path to get out and in of the sector. But I wanted to optimize the living space as much as possible in this sector, so that's why I'm doing it that way. Anyways, I shall return shortly. And the science team is done, so before I forget, let's go to the Tiqqun exterior view and build... We need to build the drone jammer, but primarily we need to build the final solar panel here. So let's do that, and then head on over and see what the science team has discovered. Analysis of the crater's center has revealed the presence of gluons and high levels of radiation. Elementary particle samples match those our team found on parts of the Etemenanki wreckage. Additionally, our sensors have detected an object 20 meters or so below the surface. It is emitting unusual and unintelligible signals on several different frequencies. We get 22 signs from that. And we are going to excavate that object manually. We don't want any invasive recovery, nor do we want to do a drilling rig in an atmosphere like this. So let's excavate the object manually. And yeah, with that, I will again pause the recording. Trying to fit in as much as possible here. And the science ship is done. And I just wanted to point out something in regards to what I said in the beginning of the episode about not using algae farms and the reasoning why. I have 3,562 population. Every single sector is happy. And the stockpiles are nearly full. And all of the farms have excess food in them on top of that. As you can see, there is no reason for me to move to algae farms, nor is there any reason for me to stop mining ice, and instead I've saved this spot here in case I want to do the, what's its face? I don't remember. That thing. The thing that, that provides, water treatment plant. But I doubt that I'm going to be using it, just so you're aware of that. We'll see. Maybe. Maybe.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Indeed. Transmission from the bracket, square bracket, science ship, science underscore ship underscore name, square bracket, bracket thing. Again. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. We managed to extract the object we have named Freeman. It is a badly damaged artificial and cylindrical construct made of an unknown alloy. It measures about 10 meters in diameter and 3 meters in length. It possesses a guidance and propulsion system and bears the letter BMS on its casing, the acronym of the Black Market Society. The object contained a nuclear charge that we carefully deactivated. We have transmitted mission data back to the Tiqqun. 44 signs and new event, which we helpfully was told by Eden the moment we opened this, that the Piranesi's main weapon. Have to address that. Okay, let's establish infrastructure to support advanced analysis. The Mimisbrunner is standing by, so let's just use the Mimisbrunner for this. And leave the planet and go resolve that event, which is in Sector 1 in the Tech Lab. Administrator, further analysis of the Freeman object found on Crook. I know Eden says CRUC. I don't know. Crook. I'm going to say Crook. It's amusing. It almost sounds like Crocs, which would be heresy, of course. But yeah. Sorry. Further analysis of the Freeman object found on Croc P37 has been completed. Freeman was used to guide a massive gluon beam fired from the Piranesi. It's clear that using a weapon of this magnitude greatly damaged the Piranesi. Any other structure attempting to use this type of weaponry would be instantly destroyed on its firing. Our team has come to the conclusion that the Piranesi must be recovering somewhere after such a burst of power. Well, that's useful information. That's useful. Acknowledged. We get 30 science flat, and then we just need to get the materials over here, and that should end the science chain. This episode will be a little bit longer than usual because of that, so be right back. And the science ship team is done. I also tore down the colony training center here, and I also think that I will tear down the health center because I have a health center in Sector 1. And while it is a good idea to have two of them, I'm kind of in a little bit of a strain for workers currently. Yeah, let's go see what the science team has found. P37 was until very recently a gas giant. A nuclear reaction of immense magnitude dissipated the planet's gas and vitrified its formerly liquid core. This event caused P37 to deviate from its natural orbit. There is no evidence that this was triggered by a collision with an asteroid or other celestial body. Our theories suggest it was caused by an external intervention. Well, gee, we kind of already knew that. We also know what triggered it. And that concludes all of the science events in Chapter 3. There is nothing left here except for collecting the science up at P42 when the colony is done. Now what I intend to do is I intend to continue to play on this specific stuff. I will be moving the Tiqqun away from here, probably closer to over here since there's a lot of resources over here, and the cargo ships are going to have to travel long distances to pick up things, so it would probably be more efficient to stand at P37 to get these things around here. It's actually quite a bit around here, instead of having them travel all the way back and forth here. I will be collecting up the signs along the way, and I will be continuing to build the new sector here, as well as tearing down the old population sector, because this is going to go away. We don't need it. I'll probably have some cargo base in this sector though, just to have some additional ships, but other than that I have no specific plans for this sector at the time being. I will also be finishing the recycling sector, so I'll be showing that off to you in the next episode. I will be doing science during the downtime because it's kind of pointless not to. But yeah, the thing that I can show just before in the final step here is that I intend to build the exo fighting dome right there. It's a tiny building with a tiny footprint of 14 times 14. That will provide a station-wide +2 stability, because we have a train station all across the station. In addition to that, when it's upgraded, we can upgrade it to +3 stability, because we do have more than 3,000 crew members. And when we reach 5,000, we can have an additional +1 stability for a total of +4 stability. Now, I'm not sure if we are going to be able to get to 5,000 in this chapter. 753. We have 358. Yes, that doesn't count the docking bay, which should be full of... Yeah, I think we should just be able to reach 5,000 in this chapter. But as you can probably see, I'm going to have to hang around here for a bit. I want to thaw all the people that are in cryostasis and just mine the system before we jump into chapter 4 with the Piranesi. So what this should actually be the final episode of Chapter 3 then. I'll do a quick recap in the beginning of the next episode, and then we will head on into the Great Unknown, Chapter 4. So, yeah. I might have forgotten a couple of things along the way here, but that's what the comment field is for. So if you have any comments and or questions, then please do feel free to leave those down in the comment section. As I said, I will be providing the layouts for your perusal when I feel that I'm happy with them. That should be within a couple of days. And yeah, if you don't have any questions or comments, as per usual, I am very grateful if you just leave a tiny little emoji down there to help out with appeasing the YouTube gods. That also applies to likes. I usually don't like to say that. Oh, that was a good pun. But yeah, I have noticed that whenever I mention like and subscribe, which I don't like, again pun, to do, that does help. So maybe I should make a point of saying it. I don't know. Yeah, it's a hard thing, this YouTube and the algorithm and viewer interaction. Episodes this length usually does not engage viewers because attention span is short and so forth, but it is kind of my style when I do Let's Play series, although 50 minutes is long even for me. So yeah, thank you all so very much for joining me, and I hope to see you all in the next episode where we will be entering the next chapter.